Hello, yeah, I'm Sophia, and I guess I'm just making this video to just kind of talk about me moving to the Netherlands. It was so weird because when I found out that I was going to be moving here and the visa had came through and everything, I'd actually started making videos then because I wanted to really document it. And I don't know, I think you don't realise how busy, I've never obviously done anything like this before, but you don't realise how busy you're going to get when you're kind of in the middle of it all. So yeah, I moved here 6 months ago and I can't believe it's been 6 months already. It's a bit crazy, but settled in really well. Just for a little bit of context, I had came here on a partner visa. I'd met my partner online. I'd never had any plans to come to the Netherlands before at all, up until this point. It was never a place, I think I'd always kind of just assumed Amsterdam, you know, it was known for red light district and weed and everything. It's not really my kind of scene. So it was never really on my place to go and explore or go and visit. But then I ended up meeting a Dutchman, falling in love, and ended up coming over here. So I guess I'm gonna just kind of waffle a little bit and talk about, yeah, I suppose how we decided here over Scotland, because obviously you can probably tell by the accent that I'm from Scotland. But yeah, what it's kind of been like, the decisions that's had to be made, everything like that. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster. Just for context, so last year, well, first things off, we met online working on a game server together. One thing led to another, we started chatting more, and then ultimately he came over to visit me in Scotland. I was a teacher at the time, so obviously my holidays and stuff were really restricted, and it was just kind of nice for him to kind of come over and visit and just see, well, to meet each other in person, because I think, especially for me, I had the absolute fear of meeting him when I had first met him. But yeah, it turned out amazing, really well. And yeah, just one thing led to another. Unfortunately, I never got to go over and see him for quite a few months because it was the Easter. I think he came over to visit me in the September time, and then we'd more or less been having monthly visits after then, until the Easter, where I had eventually went over to the Netherlands during Easter, which was really fun. We did lots of nice activities together. I got to obviously meet his family. He'd obviously already met mine, and it was just a really nice time. We'd went to the Efteling and we had went to the Keukenhof at the time, so the tulips were all starting to come into bloom. It was just a really, really, really fab time to come over to the Netherlands, and that was when I was kind of like, oh my goodness, there's a whole lot more to offer, this country has to offer. The amount of bikes kind of blew me away as well, so it was just a really kind of nice environment to see and explore and visit the kind of main attractions here, but also see where he's from. So he's from a city that's not a major city, it's a very, very small city, and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Which at some point down the line I will kind of explain to you why that is somewhat of an issue and is somewhat problematic. But yeah, it was just, it was almost like a little fairy tale village that I was kind of seeing. I was like, oh my goodness, why would you even consider coming over to Scotland when you live in a place like this? At that point I was kind of wrapping up teaching. I kind of knew that I didn't want to do teaching and I wanted to go back into industry. My field is IT, so I ended up coming back in a new job. We were very set on wanting to, one of us moving over one country or the other, and I think it was just the kind of way of life. I didn't want to stay in Scotland forever. I wanted to explore, because I felt like I didn't really do that in my 20s, so I did want to explore, but I was like, okay, I was planning on going to Australia. Australia was my choice because of the nicer weather. It was nicer than Canada, and also the bonus of everyone speaking English. So I thought, oh, I could do like a working holiday visa there for a couple of years. And then it turned out that I'd met someone, and this country looked better than the country that I was already living in. So, and I think he also thought that as well. So we got all our documentation and stuff, we started the prep for that in August time. And then we had submitted the application in the September time. What was supposed to take 90 days ended up taking about 3 or 4 weeks. It was insane how quickly the visa application got approved and came through. So that was, yeah, it was a little bit nutty. It was a bit of a whirlwind ride. Obviously up in you know, selling my place was like, because I loved my apartment back in Scotland, like it was just all mine. And then moving over to a country which I didn't know the language, so I had started kind of on and off learning the language on a site. Well, I had initially tried Duolingo. Duolingo is not for the long term, or not any kind of level of detail of language learning. It's most, I would say, if you're wanting to go and visit, like, I don't know, a country like maybe Japan or something, and you're wanting to kind of know what the signs are saying, or know what the basic things for like asking for a train ticket or something like that, then sure, Duolingo's perfect. But for actually learning the language proper, it is not it. I opted to use Busu for learning language, which has been super, super good. It goes into like a lot more detail about the kind of syntax of the language. Dutch is, oh my goodness, it is such a hard language to learn, mostly because of the order of the words. So where we would normally just say what we're doing in the middle of a sentence, they say the verb at the end of the sentence normally. Or sometimes they'll switch the order of words depending if you're talking about time at the start of the sentence, things like that. So I was totally underestimated how difficult of a language that this was going to be to learn. So it was really quite, yeah, it's been a bit of a journey. And obviously as part of moving here, I need to get at least B1 level Dutch, which I would say I'm probably almost at. That's been the kind of main factor. Since I've moved over here in January, it's been more ups than it has been downs. Like, the main down part, I feel like, is just the fact that I haven't managed to secure a job yet, which is kind of, fortunately, we're in a position where we don't need me to be in a job. So I am able to kind of hunt around and hopefully work on my Dutch until I get a job that is actually like in my field. But up until we get to that point, I mean, everything here, the healthcare here so far, and it's funny because I know that the Dutch people kind of complain, or are starting to kind of complain about maybe like wait times in hospitals and things like that. But see, when you look at the NHS, I had put in to get re-referred to the orthopaedics, and the waiting list for me was like a year. So by the time that they've actually came and said, oh, you've got an appointment, I'm obviously not even in the country anymore. So things like that. Whereas here, it's like, oh, I had went back to the doctors here for the same issue and got re-referred to, get referred straight away to the orthopaedics, and I get an appointment in August. So it's like, the amount of time and the levels of efficiency even at the doctors, and I don't know if it's just unique to the doctor here, but it's been so much more efficient than in the UK as well. Like, they've booked the x-ray and they've booked the consultant on the same day. In the August time, I had to go, and where they would normally get treatment for me to go back in a couple of weeks time at the NHS when they've booked a nurse in, they were just like, oh, we'll just see if we've got the stuff just now, and we can sort you out just now. So it's like, well, no, I don't need to waste my time going back. It's just like simple things like that, they just do so much better. So yeah, that's been my little story about how I've kind of got here so far. And I have been a bit nervous about obviously moving. It's like one thing seeing someone like long distance every so often and doing all the nice happy things and all the nice like date things and stuff like that, and it's another thing actually living with someone as well, that you're only seeing, you know, for a couple of weeks or a couple of days, a month. But touch wood, it has been absolutely amazing so far. And yeah, apart from the job thing aside, everything here has been going super duper well for me. Like, his family has been so welcoming, so supportive. They've been like looking out for any jobs for me as well. Like, I couldn't have asked for more. One thing I was kind of like a little bit apprehensive about, because it's like, how do you make friends in your 30s? Like, I'm 32 now, so it's like, how do you make friends in your 30s? So I ended up joining Bumble, not for dating but for the friends, and I ended up meeting up with a girl in the next town over, which was really, I think I've been probably more anxious about that than I have been any of the job interviews that I've been going for. And we had a nice wee chat for about 2 hours. I'm a bit of a nerdy kind of geeky girl, so we had a good little chat about Pokemon and all the different games. She works in the games industry, so that was just like super duper nice, just to kind of like meet up with someone new and just see a fresh face. And it's like, you've kind of done it on your own. It's not like, oh, I'll introduce it to this person through a family. I went out and did it on my own. So that was really nice. We're still texting back and forwards and keeping in contact, so hopefully we can meet up again. But there are so many challenges to moving country that you don't even really think about until you're there, and you're like, oh my goodness. Like, it can be even as simple as, you know, going to the shops and being like, because I do get quite anxious going to the shops. Like, I need to be in a state of being mentally prepared to go to the shops, because if I look in and I'm thinking, they don't look, like 99% of the people here talk English. I will go into a shop and I'll try and talk Dutch. They will sniff me out immediately that I am not Dutch and end up just immediately switching to English. So that is a little frustrating, because I don't get a chance to practice my Dutch. I feel like maybe at one point I might try and do like a video in Dutch and see how that kind of plays out. I don't think I'll play it very well, but we'll try. But yeah, going out to the shops and worrying about how you're going to be perceived by not speaking Dutch. I think especially because I'm in a place where if you're in a restaurant, they're not giving you a menu in English. They don't have those here, you know. They're not like touristy or an international place like Amsterdam or anything like that. So it has been a life-changing experience, actually. I'll say that, because I've done so many things that I never thought I would ever do, like riding a bike, like, as my form of commute. That's my main form of transportation, is riding a bike. Like, who would have thought it? I know Scotland's a lot hillier than the Netherlands, but never in a million years did I think, like, I was very much a car person in Scotland. Don't have the guts to drive a car in the Netherlands yet. I have serious issues with the road rules here. I don't think they make any sense, but that's another like story. But all in all, I've had such a good time. So I kind of want to like continue talking about the stuff that I suppose I'm kind of getting on with while I'm here. I have my 90% of the time it's like good days, and then I'll have the days where it's not even like bad days, but it's more days that I'm just like still, and it's mostly surrounding not having a job just yet. That's like mostly what it's surrounding, because I've never in my entire life not been working. Like, I left school on a Friday and I walked into a job on the Monday, and ever since then I have either been studying or working. So this is the first time in my entire life that I have not been employed, which is a strange experience as well. And I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time. There's only so much job hunting one can do in a day. But yeah, it's been a mostly ups couple of downs, but I'm very, very glad that I did it. So hopefully, I think probably at some point I'll go into a little bit more detail about maybe like the moving process and everything that I had to do to kind of get through that, and like removals and everything that kind of came with that, because moving over here is a lot more, there's a lot more paperwork than you think. It's not just a case of signing the visa and that's it. Just as well, I had some flights booked to come back over here because there was more stuff that I had to do, like get my fingerprints, get my residency permit, stuff like that. Oh, and I can also talk at some point about the weird reasons that I've been rejected for work as well, which I think have been quite unfair. But that's also another little hurdle that I've kind of experienced when I've been here so far. But all in all, it's not really, it's, again, like I say, it's been super good. I've loved it so far. I love the culture, I love the weather. It's much better than Scotland, even though I know that Dutch people would not agree. Well, they probably agree that it's better than Scotland, but they'd not agree that the weather is good, probably. I mean, it was like over 30. We don't have air conditioning, so it was not good for us, but during the day, sitting out and getting a wee tan. Lovely. Barbecues, had a couple of barbecues, never did barbecues in Scotland, had a couple of barbecues here. Mopeds, riding mopeds, never did that in Scotland. Yeah, it's been a bit mental, I've loved it. But yes, this was just a little tale of ramblings. I think I've just had one of those days where I didn't really know what to do myself, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to just spew out some thoughts of what it's been like moving here so far and why I came here in the first place. So yes, I will probably make some more videos going into a little bit more detail about some other stuff that I deal with, or some things to take into account when moving over here, because it is difficult, it has its challenges, but it also has its amazing benefits as well. So yeah, if you like this, feel free to leave a little comment. If you've moved to the Netherlands, if you know someone that has, if you're learning Dutch, how you're finding the language learning, because I'm finding it atrocious. So yeah, just any of your thoughts, put them down. Any hints or tips for me as well, just leave them as well. Much appreciated. Yeah, if you got to this point, then thank you very much for watching, and I'll maybe try and ramble less in the next videos.